Muslim thing. It's about the person and personality of the person involved. Shettima, as we know, has a lot of questions to answer in this country. He has been accused at various times of having a hand in what is happening in the north today.
Doc, let's not go on the personal... let's talk about this Muslim...
No, sorry, you're not being fair to him. Because this particular issue he is raising, personally, I would also have raised it along the line.
But thank God you did.
No, certainly we will come to it. That is why the issue of religion, he started by making that point that ordinarily it shouldn't
have been an issue.
But with the persona of the man in question, yes, it is now an issue. It has become a very grave issue.
Okay, go ahead and...
Yes, let's...
So what I am saying in effect is that they are being very, very unfair to the Christendom. To balance it, ordinarily one would have said, okay, since the presidential candidate is a Muslim, let the vice presidential candidate be a Christian. These issues wouldn't have arisen if they had done that. But I wouldn't know who to blame, whether APC did it or whether their Tinubu presidential candidate did it. But all we know that is not fair enough. We are a secular society. We're a society, just as the lawyer said, where the difference is just about a few percent to 1% between the Christian.
Yeah, that 1% runs into millions.
That I know.
Almost about.
Therefore, I am also in total condemnation of that particular act, and I think APC will pay for it.
All right. Looking at it, even when you say Muslim, and then the PDP is Muslim, Christian, and so on, and then when looking at it from the state of the party affairs, the national chairman should be northern, and then the candidate should also come from the south, and these things are not done that way. Whether Muslim or Christian, how is it supposed to affect the people involved, Barrister Walk?
Well, when you treat an adult, that is why the Constitution sets a minimum age of responsibility for people and sets it at 18. The age of responsibility, the legal age in Nigeria is 18. People are now in a position to make decisions for themselves. The implication definitely is that when people are not satisfied with a particular action of individuals, especially those in governance, they have a way of demonstrating it. First is by outright condemnation, the way people are doing now, and the way even members of the party that took that obnoxious decision are leaving the party. Those of them that are staying behind are staying back in protest, condemning it openly and vowing to remain within the party and work against the party. Even if it means that they will be accused of anti-party. They say clearly, it means we are not being factored in. You are not taking us into consideration. We are inconsequential in your eyes. And so if you regard me as inconsequential, politically, I will equally regard you as inconsequential. And the way to demonstrate it is condemn it, campaign against it, and ultimately get people to vote against that decision. You yourself also vote against that decision. There are several other things that people could do. You mentioned only PDP and APC.
There are other political parties.
I'm happy you now realize
yes.
There are other ways that people could go. There are other ways that people could go. Ethnicity and religion now play a very big role. And my good friend and brother Doc, we are agreed on this fact that prior to now, it didn't really play out much. But under the administration of General Muhammad Buhari, with his 97% and 5%, of course, mathematical error, 97% and 5%, but that's credited to him. That is where it has played out. The seeds of discord were sown under this administration. He came in with so much malice and hatred, dividing us along ethnic and religious lines. So I think the people would, by 2023, speak with a voice that will be very loud and clear and say that, look, enough is enough, we don't want this. Where they will go, I can only, all of us can only, make a guess speculation and be it prophetic or whatever. But at the end of the day, I am sure that the APC will feel the pulse of Nigerians and realize that Nigerians are not happy. Maybe it's also divine. Some people have said that this is divine. Just like in the Bible, when God wanted the children of Israel to exit Egypt, he hardened Pharaoh's heart. Pharaoh was busy taking all the wrong decisions. And despite complaints and public outcry, he persisted until God brought his own will to pass. Maybe this is also God's way of ensuring that those Christians within APC begin to see and find fault with the APC as a party that has kept this nation in the way we are today. The issue of insecurity under the same political party, issue of religious strife, ethnicity, and so on. Enthronement of mediocrity.
Yes.
Enthronement of mediocrity. People who are certainly not qualified to hold certain positions. You come in and tell us you are going to fight corruption, and under your watch of fighting corruption, snake will swallow millions. Python will swallow millions. Monkey will swallow millions. Then individual will now wake up. A man will get up and swallow 80 billion. And the nation is just going as if business as usual. And you're fighting corruption. We are fighting corruption. It's most unfair.
All right, Council, I know a lot of Nigerians are so embittered. Now, there was something Dr. Ndwago said that in 1979, it was Christian affair, nothing happened. And I don't think since the inception of this country, don't you think that why people are crying out for this Muslim ticket, it's because of the level of insecurity? And since the inception of this particular present government, the level of kidnapping and rapes by the so-called Melu, Miatiala, Boko Haram, and so on. And don't you think that is why the people are crying? That it's like this is an agenda that they want to carry out through this Muslim ticket?
Oh, people have several reasons to cry. I made mention of the person involved who has been accused, it's an accusation yet, of knowing or having a hand, I don't know how to describe it, a hand or knowing what is happening in the north. Now, it's not all about insecurity, rather. Christians have been marginalized. The level at which we've been relegated is at epidemic proportions. Council has mentioned it today. 97%, 5% mathematical error, as we have seen.
Because it ought to be 97 and 3%.
Good, at 3%.
But it's not.
So people are crying, not just because of it, they are crying because this level of marginalization will continue. It will keep growing higher. A case where in the past 8 years, Muslims have dominated 97%. And now, a major political party, or one of the major political parties, is also towing the same line. So Christians are crying because they believe that this marginalization is going to continue. And of course, when that issue comes up, it has some attendant consequences. Of course, one of which is insecurity. When people feel that we don't belong, remember what is happening in the Southeast today. The agitation came as a result of this passive marginalization. And we
perceived or actual?
Okay, let me just put it that way. The actual marginalization we are passing through in the Southeast. 10 years ago, we didn't find ourselves in this situation in the Southeast. But it began since Buhari administration set in. Therefore, in a set climb, a climb that understands the feelings of the people, a society that knows that, look, there are ominous signs. They shouldn't have gone this far, to the extent of having Muslim ticket in a major political party. And I tell you, just as Council said, APC will pay for it. One striking issue here is that I've not seen any Muslim coming to defend this. I don't know, I could be wrong. Even Muslims themselves are condemning this act. The Christian community condemning that. just Tinubu and his handlers who came up to say that they chose Shetima based on competence. They didn't choose it because he's a Muslim. They didn't choose between a Muslim and a Christian or Christian Muslim. They chose it based on the person that will deliver votes to them.
And there's no competent Christian.
Well, that is what it means. That in the whole north, there is no competent Christian among them.
In the north, you are all incompetent.
That is what it means.
They are telling the Christians in ABC from the
that there is no competent Christian.
Also, none is from the south. I'm talking about the president, whether the vice president they've chosen, whether Christian, Muslim, or Muslim. Is this not a clear indication of pure marginalization, or rather setting the south or southeast backward, politically and otherwise?
Well,
remembering what Kwankwaso said the other time about the Igbo politics and so on.
Speaking about Kwankwaso, everybody in Nigeria knows that politically he's not going anywhere. He's not going to win any election. Kwankwaso was brought there as a spoiler. That is just a loose cannon, a cannon fodder. That is what he is there for, just to spoil and divide votes. Now, the person chosen by the PDP as running mate to Abubakar Atiku is an Igbo man. Truth be told, nobody can deny that Ifeanyi Okowa is an Igbo man.
By implication.
Not by implication. Ifeanyi Okowa
is an Igbo man.
Ifeanyi Okowa is an Igbo man. Ifeanyi Okowa may not be from Southeast, because that is the mistake some of us make, that Igbos exist only in Southeast. It is a mistake. It's an error. Anyhow you look at it, it's an error. We have Igbos in Delta State. We used to call them Midwestern State in those days.
Even in those days, at times we call them the Delta Igbos.
Delta Igbo. We have Igbos in River State. Let me shock you that we have Igbos even in Cross River, Uge area, Ogoja area. We have Igbos there. Some of my maternal people settled there. The Arabs, they are there. So the fact that the person settled in a particular place does not deny him his, will I say, Igbo-ness.
Ancestral right.
You understand? However, just because of this same perceived, perception is now trying to be everything. Let us understand that you have done it for us. Give us an Igbo man from Southeast, called Southeast. I don't even know whether, if you had gotten somebody from Enugu, whether the people from Imo Abia, who see ourselves as the heart of Igbo land, more of Imo, Abia, a little bit of Anambra, whether we wouldn't also have agitated. If they had given a person, we may have complained. Given Enugu, we may have complained. So if it is on the basis of tribalism and ethnicity, I would say that the PDP is right, because Ifeanyi Okowa is an Igbo man. If the argument is about zoning and region, it's a different thing. If the argument is about zoning and region, it's a different thing. Whereby the Southeast can now say, we are not looking at tribe, we are looking at geopolitical disposition. Give it to somebody of Southeast. In any event, anyway, I am happy Southeasterners are not complaining against Ifeanyi Okowa that he is not an Igbo man. Nobody is saying that. Some people politically tried to make that argument much earlier, but immediately Ohaneze came out and said, look, he is our son. Of course, everybody knows, but you don't hear that again. Ifeanyi Okowa is an Igbo man. He is not from Southeast, but he's an Igbo man.
All right, thank you, Council. It is also on news everywhere that the Academic Staff Union of universities, ASU, yesterday mocked President Muhammadu Buhari over his enough is enough statement. And also the They described the ongoing 5-month-old strike as inimical to future generation of Nigerians. And not just that, the union claimed that the president's statement was not only comical, but a clear sign of leadership failure in Nigeria. And also, they said that the Mr. President and the federal government has reduced the public universities in Nigeria to celebrated secondary school, to a glorified secondary school. Now, sometime last week we talked about this ASU strike and so on. A lot of, one or two of us blamed the lecturers and so on. And they are saying that there are two key things they have been asking for. The 2009 pact, which the president is aware, and they've also discussed it and accepted that they were going to do that, even with the Minister of Labour, our brother Dr. Ngige. And so on. And until now, that has not been implemented. And they are not ready to call off the strike based on Mr. President's call. Are we going to continue this way? How long are our children going to remain at home? I'm asking you, Dr. Ndwago.
It is a shame that since the Buhari administration came on board, lecturers have been on strike for over 700 days. My checks yesterday revealed that. Our children are spending months at home now, and we don't even know when they will return to school. And the president just came out yesterday to make a statement. Whether it is an official statement or what, I do not know. And it wasn't even that the statement carried some weight behind it, maybe making an order for those issues to be addressed. All we hear is that ASU and the Labour minister would meet and they are going to resolve very soon. The next day, ASU will say, we have nothing to discuss with you. But they will leave it. 1 month later, they will come back again. Our children are languishing at home. Tomorrow, you blame them. Or when you want to employ them, you say they are unemployable. How this system cannot produce sound graduates. My worry is that I don't even know the contents of the 2009 or 2010 agreement that cannot be implemented. Jonathan only implemented it once, and I was told, I had an interview with the ASU national president, Professor Sadeke, on my radio show, and he said that that agreement was implemented only once by the man that entered it, that is Goodluck Jonathan, former president.
So it is implementable.
It is and that he borrowed. I'm quoting Professor Sadeke, that even Jonathan had to borrow to implement the first part of it.
The question the council, it is implemented.
It is implemented, whether you borrow or you
will be borrowing to build railway lines to other countries that have not had any impact.
Why can't we borrow now?
No beneficial.
Why would they be serious at making our children return to school when all their children are studying overseas?
That's it.
I read in one of the newspapers the other day that when Rivers State governor came on board, that he said Rivers State didn't have the money to fund Rivers children who were studying overseas, and they were asked to come back. But just recently, his own child graduated overseas. What does that show? The minister's children are all overseas. Most of these governors have their children overseas studying. So their children are comfortably learning there, while the poor children here suffer. Therefore, all I say is that it is a national shame and a ridicule on the side of the president that he's just coming out now to speak. Not just speaking or saying, please, we are prepared to do this, or issuing orders. He's good at signing executive orders, but he cannot sign this particular one. I would therefore even call out all the lecturers and students to go to the street and demonstrate. Let the world hear their voice that they are tired of being at home.
All right, Council Barrister Nwago.
Yes, sir.
How long do you think this is going to last? The ASU is not ready to fire the strike?
Yes, sir. Before I go into that, let me quickly disagree with Doc. I don't agree that they should go out on the streets.
That's my personal opinion.
Yes, and I also reserve the right to disagree. We've been agreeing since.
So we can disagree now.
Yes. We will disagree to agree. On this one, I don't agree that they should go out on the streets. Because if they do, there is so much tension in the land that demonstration or protest would be hijacked by all kinds of miscreants and hoodlums who would change the narrative. They wouldn't even know the essence of the demonstration, where we are coming from. Rather, let them endure and wait for the ample time. They will solve APC as a problem during the election. Vote them out massively all over. I mean, end APC completely by ensuring that APC does not get one vote anywhere in the country at all levels.
If only our votes are going to count.
Our votes does not imply that the children will still have to wait.
Well, I said I will get to the question.
Right.
He had asked it. I said, before I get to the question, let me disagree. So that is my own solution to the problem that eventually, it's a long-term solution. Eventually, vote them out. Demonstrate their disgust at what this administration has done by speaking with their votes. More so, the returning officers, the collation officers, and whatever ad hoc officers that members of ASU function as. ASU brought in this
present government, yes.
If it had been in our jocular Igbo balance, I would have said Nto to ASU. But I will not say Nto to ASU because our children are also involved. Now ASU is being faced with another situation to right the wrong that they have perpetrated on this nation. Let them do the needful. Then regarding the length of time, we are dealing with a Baba, our Oga chief driver, who rather than talk with his mouth, whenever he comes to say anything, it will take so long, things would have damaged so beyond repair before he comes out to make one small test statement that will go to virtually no issue. He prefers talking to us with body language. Today his ear will twitch, and those that will understand the body language would they will be the ones to tell us what twitching of his right ear means, and the twitching of the left ear means a different thing. When he does his shoulder like this, it will mean, Femi Adesina and Garuba. Yeah, both of them are the presidency. We know both of them as the presidency. So they tell us they interpret to us the body language of Mr. President. So now that Baba, Oga Chief Driver, has spoken with his mouth, and ASU in turn also came out to speak and said, no way, we are not yielding. Only God knows what is going to happen and when something will give. But my appeal is to everybody concerned, particularly the government. The federal government has all it takes to end this ASU strike in 1 week. I would repeat for emphasis, the federal government has all it takes to end this. We cannot be giving dashing money to Afghanistan when we have problems with ASU here. We cannot be building rail line, the best gauge in the world. The thickness is the best in the world. To Niger Republic, when our children are at home here, wasting their future. It is horrible. It can only happen in Nigeria, and the government is still on seat. The government that is responsible for this is still busy on seat, and even has the mouth to come out to berate the lecturers. If some of these our leaders, if they had gone through university education, maybe they would have been viewing this ASU strike differently. For God's sake, all of us here are graduates. I'm not sure that any of us would occupy the seat of this nation and allow ASU to go on strike even for this length of time. But for some people whose certificates and the academic qualifications are shrouded in all kinds of controversy, to the extent that it will not take the Supreme Court to give a weird and bizarre decision that affidavit is superior to academic qualification before they can now seek for, just imagine, for you to get employment as a collation officer, you need to be a university professor or a doctor. That's an ad hoc position. But for you to be
the president of
Nigeria, it is school cert or its equivalent.
Or court affidavit.
And yet, even that school cert or its equivalent, you don't even have. You just need to go to Pound Road here, under that big tree. And they will arrange one affidavit for you. Doc, I'm not a PhD holder. I can come out tomorrow and say I am one.
But I disagree with him somehow.
Yes.
Now, the Minister of Labour is a graduate.
He is responsible to the
The
president.
Minister of Education
Is responsible to the president.
He's talking about the chief driver.
The chief driver.
This one, the ones you are talking about are appointed.
We are talking about those elected. We are talking about the president, not the presidency. Not the presidency this time, the president himself.
Ngige will go and agree with the lecturers, ASU members, and his boss will say you are your own. What will he do? Is it his money?
That's what
I will continue taking more loans to fund irrelevancies and ignore our educational system.
All right, wonderful viewers, I'm happy you're there and I'm happy you're watching us, and I'm also happy that you're listening to us. We are going to go on a very short break, and when we come back, Nigeria Today continues. Stay tuned and don't go away.
Admission is ongoing at Living TV Film Academy, Aba, Abia State, for candidates wishing to study filmmaking and mass communication for skill certificate training and degree programs, including mandatory NYSC post-degree service. Courses offered are Department of Journalism and Media Studies, Broadcast Journalism, TV Presentation, Photo Journalism, Department of Film and Multimedia Studies, Cinematography, Acting, Video Editing, Film Production, Website Designing, Modeling and Makeup, Bead Making, Screenwriting, Theatre Arts, Department of Broadcasting, Script Writing, Journalism, Reporting, Software Programming, Mobile and Web App Development, Audio Production, Graphic Designing, Digital Animation, Special Effects, Social Media Management. Entry qualifications: candidates must possess 5 credits in WASICAM GCE, NAPTEB or equivalents. We have the following technical infrastructure for students' skills acquisition: an arts theatre well equipped for modern digital television and radio studios open for hire to the public, an audio suite for music production, soundtracks, sound effects, jingles and voice-over, etc. A 50 feet by 40 feet chroma studio, largest in Africa for special effects, world-class rendering facilities for post-production rendering, animation and cartoon technology, assorted professional cameras, drones, etc. A film village with epic and village houses for theatre arts and epic films making. Our studies are skill-oriented with well-qualified academic and technical teachers. We also admit students on industrial training and internship from other institutions. Professional license will be issued to graduates to practice as professionals by Bollywood, a registered professional organization for filmmakers. Wow! What are you waiting for? Rush now and obtain our admission form with 2,000 naira only at our main campus, number 1 Judges Road, 5th floor, former UBA House by NEPA, Waterside Descent, Aba, Abia State, Nigeria, or visit our website, livingradio.com.ng, the Academy, www.livingtvfilmacademy.com, email livingtvfilmacademy@gmail.com, or call 0805 367 3900 or 0816 641 1400. Signed, Registrar.
Welcome our wonderful viewers, still on your darling station, The Living TV, and also your special program, Nigeria Today. This is a program where you are meant to know what is happening around the globe and beyond. And I have still wonderful discussants. From my far left, I have Barrister Chukwuemeka Nwogu. Barrister Chukwuemeka Nwogu is not just a legal practitioner, but also a security consultant. And also Dr. Stanley Nduago. Dr. Stanley Nduago is a public affairs analyst and also a media person. We are all on it. And right now we are going to look into another very short topic. Because of our time, we are just going to be brief, straight to the point, so that we can exhaust what we have today. Right now we are having Jonathan Shon's PDP because they betrayed him in 2015, and this statement is credited to Edwin Clark. Was Jonathan actually betrayed, or did the people's vote count in 2015? I'm asking you, Dr. Nduago.
Well, I have read a book written by Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, analyzing critical issues that surrounded his exit from office in 2015. In that book, he pointed fingers at various quarters, indirectly accusing both the international community and the PDP. For instance, he mentioned that at a time he didn't even trust his kitchen cabinet, that they were indirectly working for the opposition. Yes, I will agree that he was betrayed by the PDP for simple reasons that the northern members of PDP wanted power to return to the north. Okay. Babangida Aliyu of Niger State was critical. And actually, if you watch how things happen in Niger State, you will discover that they were not working in favor of their party. Therefore, I can believe with everything I have that he was actually betrayed by the PDP, even though people voted, but they created that avenue for people to vote against their party.
All right, Council, do you agree to that? I know you are very close to the government and equally PDP, am I right?
Goodluck Jonathan betrayed himself.
Okay.
And thus helped to lay the foundation for betrayal by others. Several pieces of advice as to what to do to handle the situation we are given at different points in time. There were critical decisions that he failed or was scared of taking. Several mistakes he made. Let me give you an example in the southeast. The Enugu-Port Harcourt Expressway was one critical factor that resulted in disenchantment amongst the southeast, that gave the southeast didn't vote. Not that they voted against him, and not that they really voted in favor of his opponent. They didn't vote. There was voter apathy. If the southeast, the difference between Jonathan and Muhammadu Buhari, if the southeast had voted as they did when Jonathan came in earlier, it would have taken care of it. But there was voter apathy. They looked at it and said, for how many years you were on the seat, you couldn't take care of this road that ran through almost all the majority of the states. It went through Enugu, Ebonyi, Abia, and parts of Imo also. It's only Anambra that doesn't touch that road. Then again, he was also required to do the road from Onitsha to Owerri, to Aba, and down to Cross River. He didn't do that. When he was equally asked to handle the issue of the then INEC chairman, intelligence reports showed that some northern leaders held a secret meeting in Dubai. Jonathan was briefed about it and was asked pointedly to change those people. What he did was to call Jega and say, I heard you went to hold a meeting against me in Dubai. Are you against me? What would you expect from him to say that, to come out? Even the then PDP chairman, Muazu, man to whom all the money was given for Jonathan's campaign, and the little was not given to Lisa. When we started fighting corruption, what happened? They left the head, and they were looking for the houseboy. He also allegedly attended that meeting. I wasn't there, but I mean, these things have been out in the public domain. So, like I said, he failed to take necessary decisions when these things were created. He wasn't decisive, and that was why a lot of people were disenchanted with him. He was the one that betrayed himself. Others only stood on the betrayal.
Okay, a little back on this, another one getting to us right now is also on the ASU. ASU recalls number of times the federal government had agreement with them, saying that their 2009 agreement will be made immediately. And that is why today they are saying they are ready to go back. They are really ready to go back, and on one condition. That one condition is that the number one thing they agreed with them is to accept the university transparency and accountability solution. And the number two is the renegotiation of 2009 pact. That as soon as this is done, they are not happy that they are home. That as soon as this is done, that they will go back to classes. And then, what is the government doing about this, Dr. Onduagu?
Well, we are not in a position to say what the government is doing about it. For instance, you mentioned one critical factor, that is the UTAS, to exit from the IPPS and then have theirs UTAS, which the federal government says that allowing the universities to implement their UTAS will open it up to corruption, that it will be a blank check being given to the administrators of the universities to do whatever thing they like. That they are actually the employers. And there's nobody's arguing the fact that the federal government is the employer of these lecturers. But I don't think there is anything too big. Federal government has said we're going to put the UTAS to the test. I'm not aware that they've done that to find out the workability of it. Secondly, the renegotiation of the 2009 agreement. Well, I wouldn't know the contents of the renegotiation to know whether it is something that is acceptable. I'm not a government official, but as counsel here said, he has appealed to all the parties involved, the federal government, and asked to consider the plight of these poor children. And I still stand on that particular appeal. Whatever thing it is, we can handle that as a nation. Let the federal government and ASU come together once again, and let the president, not just sitting somewhere and then talking, making his views known. Let him take action and ensure that our children return to school. When they continue to stay at home, it has some consequences both on them, their parents, and the society at large. That is my appeal.
All right. If the university transparency and accountability solution is a big deal, what about the 2009 agreement?
That agreement is not one item agreement. There are several matters came into it. The parties, and by that I mean both the federal
Sorry, so that you take them together. No matter how many they are, if the federal government will attempt one or two or three of them, I think the people will come back.
You never can tell whether they've attempted a few of them
We need to
before
know
now.
if, for example, the agreement is that the federal government should swallow razor blade, and they have not even attempted swallowing, and they are now holding it against them. We need to know what that agreement contained, then know which aspect of it the government has demonstrated good faith by performing. It is only when they have told us that there are 10 items, we have taken 1, 2, 3, 4. Now see the reason why we cannot take 5 to 10. You understand?
Exactly.
Good. Then, like Doc was educating us about the payment platform. Yes, experiment on it. Try it first. And if you now discover manifest and inherent difficulties at implementation, everybody would have known and understood why that thing cannot work.
Yes.
You don't sit at home and tell us it is not workable because you didn't go to school. therefore everybody should also remain an illiterate. That is not a right disposition.
All right, PDP has enlisted key leaders of the opposition party to pacify Rivers State Governor Nyeso Wike's likely defection.
Sorry,
Remember
PDP.
That is PDP,
yes,
sending some men, some of their leaders.
You said opposition.
Yes, it is still an opposition. PDP is still opposition.
No. Okay, by that,
Yeah.
I thought you mean sending members of APC.
Is it? No, I can never do such.
So they have sent them to go and pacify Wike.
Yes.
And this is as a result of what happened last week. Remember last week Friday, 3 governors of the APC visited him and tried to woo him over to PDP. And now PDP is making sure that he remains and they are pacifying him. What is the degree of importance attached to this man Wike? Or is it because of the city occupies or the treasury in his state? Doc?
Well, Wike has said it point blank that he has been the pillar and the power of the party for a very long time. Wike has said it without mixing words that he has been the one holding the party from collapsing all the while. Wike has said how he has spent so much money to sponsor the party. And don't forget that Wike also has friends in the party across the country, from the south, from the west, from anywhere. And by so doing, he has made himself a bride. We all know what happened, how he lost the primary election, how much he invested. And PDP knows that losing Wike would mean losing something very valuable to them, considering, I wouldn't say he has a large following, but considering the connection he has across the country and the party. That is why he keeps holding meetings with these people and the other one. Last week when they visited him, they said they went to pay a Salah visit to him. I wonder how Muslims could pay a Salah visit to a Christian sitting governor. That was ridiculous to me. Therefore, PDP knows that losing Wike would mean a lot. They will put themselves in a very disadvantaged position. And that is why they are doing everything to make sure that he remains. And I can tell that Wike is not leaving PDP.
All right, Council, you know also the other time, Atiku also sent some people to meet with him, even when they went to, is it Turkey, to meet with Wike. If Wike is as this powerful, why didn't they choose him as the vice president? I think that is where the whole problem emanated from.
Wike is a strong and critical factor, both within the PDP and the Nigerian polity. There's no denying that fact. He has the clout to influence election to a very high degree. He may not be the deciding factor, but he holds such clout as to sway a lot in his favor. And I can tell you that Wike within the PDP and the Nigerian polity is someone that if you have him on your side, then you have a lot going for you. If you also have him as an opponent, then you need extra hard work to contain whatever opposing force or influence that Wike would bring. So that is just the when it had to do with the primaries of the PDP, you could understand why he lost, and he didn't really lose by a wide margin. But for the stepping down, I would say betrayal of Wike by his friend, the governor of Sokoto State. The result might have been different. That shows you what the usual northern, at the last minute, he stepped down and said, cast your vote here. Because if Tambuwal had remained, he would have divided the northern votes and Wike would have gotten it. Yeah. Again, having Wike as, maybe Atiku saw it that having Wike as
vice
president, Wike is not somebody who will pocket. Wike would not agree to be a spare tire. Knowing him, the little I know about him, he's someone that if you agree on something with him, the problem is to agree. But once you agree, he will do his own part. If you try to pocket him, he will show you that Oga no be so. He will call you Oga but tell you that no be so. That is why. So nobody wants him out. And that's also why they are a bit scared. He's very strong. You may not easily control him as a vice. Everybody wants a docile fellow that wouldn't give him trouble as a deputy.
All right, the Nigerian Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers says it will not hesitate to join the proposed nationwide strike following the prolonged ASU, NASU, and SSANU industrial actions. And if this happens, we know what it means for the common man who uses both the PMS and the kerosene and so on. And they are threatening to join. What do you think about that, Doc?
Allowing this very powerful union to go on strike means crisis that the federal government will find very difficult to control. I am happy you pointed out that we've been concentrating on university teachers. College of Education lecturers are all on strike. I don't even know when they will come back, and some other unions. Therefore, we already know when these people on their own down tools or pack their trailers 1 or 2 days, what happens? Let alone when they say we are joining an indefinite strike. The nation will be grounded, the economy will be grounded, the society will suffer for it. Therefore, the federal government should make hay while the sun shines. Thank God that this particular body is now threatening to join, and we know the implications. Allowing them to succeed in doing that would mean all of us paying dearly for it. Marketers, petrol stations, roadside marketers will capitalize on it to milk us dry. A little thing, they will inflate the price. A few weeks ago, we were buying fuel to the tune of 250 naira. And if they go on strike, I don't know what will happen to the economy. Therefore, I appeal once again to the federal government to ensure that this doesn't happen by making sure that lecturers return to classes, our children get back to school, to avert this looming crisis that will engulf the nation.
Okay, Barrister Nwogu, do you think these people are seriously concerned, or one may ask, what is the relationship between the NUPENG and the ASU? Or maybe because their children are equally involved in this. What is your take on that?
If you have somebody, these young people at home, especially those in the teenage age, you know that when we do panic buying, they do panic eating, these young men and young ladies, because they are at the age where their body metabolism is coming up so fast. They depend so much on food. They eat a lot. When they are in school, it helps a bit because they would be managing their pocket money. But when they are at home, they do panic eating. Anything they see, they eat. Anything they so. It's in the interest of everybody that our children, I have them at home. It's in the interest of everybody that they should be in school where they should rightly be, gainfully occupied, acquiring knowledge, and so on. Okay? Now, don't forget that both the NUPENG, the whatever you call it, all the petroleum or the organizations in the petroleum industry sector, and the ASU are all trade unions. They're all trade unions. All of them apex at both either the NLC or the TUC. So they have common interest. They band together when their interest is affected for common protection, mutual protection, and survival. However, I would still join Doc to appeal to everybody. It is an ill wind that would blow nobody any good if they begin to down tools. Everybody will pay dearly for it if these labor unions and trade unions will gang up together and go on strike at the same time. It will not help because the nation is running on oil. The economy is running on oil. If they down it, yes, those in authority position may not feel it immediately because they don't buy petroleum products the way you and I buy. Before it gets to them, it may have lasted up to 3 months or even 6 months before they will begin to feel it. And that's why when you go on strike, they don't feel it. If it's the ASU, they send their children abroad. If it is this other one, they control importation. They have their friends. In fact, they are also the ones handling the importation of petroleum products. They own the oil blocks. They export, they collect our crude oil, export it, refine it, and bring it back and sell to us. So they have us by the balls, under their stranglehold. But again, the appeal is please, for God's sake, let us not allow this country to go to shambles. The way it is going, people are busy doing body language. People are busy doing, it does not concern me, before it gets here. If we continue that way, what happened recently in Sri Lanka will be child's play.
What will happen here?
Yes. Look at there's a particular, our brethren from a part of Abia State, they will say, on our sample. You know, the EndSARS one. It didn't even last how many hours and so on our sample. And
Is that
that
right?
also sample. See what happened.
All right. Fuel subsidy removal will kill more businesses in Nigeria. Companies are shutting down, like we know. Most of the commercial banks, they close between the hours of 1 p.m. and 2:30 p.m. because of the cost of diesel. And then you're talking about fuel subsidy or a fuel subsidy removal. How is that going to? Are we? In fact, Doc, are we enjoying this fuel subsidy in the first place?
In the first place, do we have even any reason for this? When Buhari was campaigning, one of his campaign promises was not just to reform the old refineries, but to build new ones. And then he said he would build
And
one.
also remove subsidy.
Remove subsidy.
Because it was a fraud.
Jonathan tried it. We know how this present APC, they were not APC then, when they mobilized and occupied a part of Lagos, saying that it should not be removed. Now, Buhari is also tinkering with that idea he opposed. Removing that will mean obeying the World Bank or IMF, because this is the IMF idea that Nigeria should have a total removal of fuel subsidy. And the question is, are we even enjoying it?
That's it.
Let alone removing it. That would be the last thing this administration will do that will crumble the nation. Removing fuel subsidy means we should be talking about buying a liter of fuel for an upward of 300, 400 naira as the case may be. By the way, who are these people that are paid this money? There is a group of people who are there feeding fat on this particular issue. We hear billions of naira paid out monthly to them. Who are these people? How much are they being paid? That is the question we have not been told. Therefore, I am totally against the removal of fuel subsidy because of its attendant consequences. It will ground the economy. He has made a mention of the Sri Lanka issue. Oh, this one now will spark off what will even be 10 times more than what we are seeing in Sri Lanka. The government should not even tinker doing that kind of thing.
All right, Barrister, please, can you just, because of numerous viewers and listeners, just throw more like, what is this subsidy supposed to be?
Fuel subsidy, when petroleum product is either imported or refined at a particular source, to transport it to different parts of the country involves money. And when eventually it is done, you know what you call, at that final destination, the landing cost there is different from the cost at the point of production or importation. So the government created what you call the equalization fund that now pays the cost of moving it to different parts of the country. That is the subsidy. To ensure that what you buy petrol in Sokoto, where you don't have a drop of oil and where there is no refinery and no seaport, is also what you buy it in Umuahia, is what you buy it in Port Harcourt. That is the subsidy. Now, subsidy, it would have been good if we could remove it because it is an avenue for fraud. However, before you don't just wake up and remove it. Before you remove that subsidy, you must make our electricity distribution system okay, so that people wouldn't need to buy petrol to be fueling their generators. More people than necessary are consuming petroleum products. That is the problem we have today. So if our power distribution system is okay, and everybody has it, pay what you have been charged, what you have consumed. We wouldn't need that extra petrol. There are several avenues through which unnecessary petroleum product is being diverted, including exporting them illegally through our land borders. If these things are contained, I assure you, the market forces, which over time we've demonstrated in Nigeria, they don't operate. There's a law of demand and supply. There are dead letters in Nigeria. They don't really operate here. They would stabilize over time, and then you can talk about removing petroleum subsidy. But if you just jump to remove it, that is a recipe for anarchy and catastrophe.
All right, there've been this calling from all quarters of Igbo unions asking the IPOB to soft pedal with their agitation. And the IPOB have insisted that unless the Islamization agenda by the Northerners is perished or killed, that there is no how they will stop.
Why would any reasonable man, you are asking for something, and the person or persons you are asking for that thing from are not only are they persisting in doing the one you are complaining about, they are doing more, and another person is asking you to stop protesting. You see, it's easy, I think, to get, to a large extent, it's easy to get our brothers who are agitating to soft pedal. But before you begin to ask them to soft pedal, are we also asking those behind the reason why they are agitating to soft pedal?
That's it.
Two people are engaged in, will I say,
In a fight,
whether fight or, argument. Then one of them, you go and tape his mouth so that he will stop arguing and tell him shut up. While the other person continues maybe abusing his mother. Because if you want to get anybody to be angry, if you abuse his father, he may just ignore you. But once you abuse any person's mother, whether living or dead, that person will get angry. Now from abusing his father, you start abusing his mother. Naturally, the person will get angry. Or you're holding, you appear to be separating a fight. Two people are fighting. You want them to be separated. You go and hold one and say, stop fighting, stop fighting. I'm not encouraging any. I'm not inciting anybody. But for God's sake, it is not right to overlook the agitation or the reason for the agitation and tell them, down your tools, stop complaining. You can't beat a child and expect that child not to cry. It is criminal to beat a child and expect the child not to cry. When you beat a child, allow the child to cry.
Okay, Doc, what is your perceived understanding of this Islamization agenda?
Well, this has been an issue people have been raising and crying that there is a plan to Islamize Nigeria. What it means, based on my little understanding of it, is that they want to make Islam not just a religion in Nigeria, but a dominant religion in Nigeria, by ensuring that if you don't adhere to, how do I call it, Islamic tenets, you have no place in Nigeria. Everyone now should adhere to Islamic tenets. Everyone here in Nigeria should do like Muslims. Everyone in Nigeria should adopt Islam as a religion. That is the speculation or the assumption or the accusation or the feelings our people have. I am not sure whether there is any plan like that, but there are indicators to show that there is such a plan.
Okay, Council, the freedom of religion, I am sure, is enshrined in our constitution. And then if there is anything like Islamization agenda, is it going to die off or kill off the constitution about freedom of religion?
Which aspect of the constitution are we adhering to?
Considering the
No,
Islamization
I mean,
agenda.
our political leaders have demonstrated repeatedly that they could brazenly ignore various aspects of the constitution and nothing happened at the end of the day. People would commit impeachable offenses and the legislature that would be responsible to call them to order would be scared of even broaching the subject. If you try to bring it up, somebody would say that you are either that you belong to the opposition, or your party will call you to order and say you are engaging in anti-party activities. It's no more about what is right. So leave off. The Constitution is a document. It is a document, and do not forget that that particular chapter 2, which contains some of these provisions, not the one in chapter 4 as to rights to freedom of religion, but the one that says Nigeria has to be governed as a secular state. The courts have held that it is not justiciable. You cannot compel anything. And if that is the case, then you are not even bringing in anything about the Constitution. That's why people can do anything they like and get away with it.
All right, finally, before we go, the leader of the Pan-Yoruba socio-political organization known as Afenifere, that is the leader Ayo Adebanjo, said yesterday that the Yorubas will vote Peter Obi while Tinubu is there. What is your take on this, Doc?
Well, they have come out to say that it is his personal opinion, that he was not speaking for the Yoruba, neither was he speaking for Afenifere. I believe that it is also his own opinion that he was trying to express. But I believe also that a reasonable number of the Yoruba will want to vote competence this time, even though they have their brother as a presidential candidate of one of the major parties. But looking at the feelings of the people, hearing them and seeing what they are thinking, you will know that Peter Obi will have some good votes from Yoruba land. Some people will dump their own brother and vote Peter Obi. But they have come out to say that Ayo Adebanjo was speaking on his own. He wasn't speaking for the Yoruba or for Afenifere.
Council, as a leader of one of the known leaders of Afenifere, coming out to say that, do you think that statement was just personal?
Even if it was personal, being a leader, opinion molder in that capacity, there is nothing on earth you will say that people will not believe him. Some people are going to believe him. Recall that in 1999, the entire nation stepped down their presidential candidates of various parties in deference to the Yorubas. Even our brother, Ogbonnayon, who emerged as a presidential candidate of then, I think, ANPP, so yes, or APP, stepped down and deferred and said, okay, let our brethren from the Southwest go. If right-thinking members of different parts of the country now feel that the Southeast needs to be given an unfettered access to getting the presidency, just as happened in 1999. We're not talking about party this time around. We're now talking about geopolitical divide. So if they come up tomorrow and suddenly Bola Tinubu comes out to say, well, I also think it is right for, even though I've been selected as flag bearer for APC, but I'm stepping down in favor of somebody from Southeast by whatever name called. And then all the political parties somehow choose or select their candidates from Southeast. What are we talking about? Agitation will die. And I assure you that competence would prevail at the end of the day. We're not talking about party politics. We're now talking geopolitical and ethnicity.
All right, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our wonderful viewers, we may be coming to the end of today's program. But before then, it is also known that the abducted Bayelsa ex-commissioner, Mr. Mike Ogiasa, has not been released because of the amount the abductors are asking for. And then the governor of the state has also asked that the man be released immediately. And the most unfortunate aspect of this is that this Mr. Ogiasa is a cousin to our former president, Goodluck Jonathan, and has been there for some time now. And another one like it is that the man killed 71-year-old woman. He killed 71-year-old woman.
He killed?
Yes. And It's not just all about killing, but pieces the parts and sold the part for 22,200 naira. That is in Nigeria. Is it as a result of hardship? And finally, police declares war on vote buyers, and they have deployed the detectives concerning the Osun State Gubapo that will be coming up soon.
I think, can we address some more serious things? Leave off that of the...
Yes, that is just
leave off that of the police and the vote buying. That is not... I think they just want to be in the news. Because they... Clearly, over the years, they've not been able to do anything.
How they were going to do
Can we address more serious
Yes,
issues?
this abduction and then a man killed 71-year-old. That is where we'll be coming to the end. So you can just look at it briefly while we'll call it a day
yes,
today.
That of I don't think it has much to do with the commissioner being related to Goodluck Jonathan. If he had also been his houseboy, they would have said Jonathan's house. It's just to make it newsworthy. But I am not in support of any form of kidnap or killing or whatever. The person that sold pieces the woman and sold should also be profiled. Even if it is for 5 million, should be profiled. Because a lot has gone terrible. We have lost our humanity in this nation. Things that we were not hearing of before, things that didn't used to happen, are now happening by the day. You're talking of that. What of children that have killed their fellow children? All to make money. So it is where this administration has brought us down. We have lost our humanity and everything has...
I wouldn't even blame this administration or past administration for this. It is just erosion of values. Values have eroded so much to the extent that the humanity in us, as he said, is gone. It is high time we all came out to say what is happening. Religious organizations, parents, as we are, traditional rulers, we should look inwardly and see how, whatever thing we can do to salvage our society. Because never in the history of Nigeria have we seen this level of religious killing happening. Ritual killing, because this is ritual killing. And as he said, the man needs to be profiled to find out whether he's mentally stable. Because I don't think such a man could be mentally stable.
All right, wonderful viewers and listeners, we thank you so much for being part of this program. We want you to always remember, and even after now, the Living TV continues with our programs, and we're sure you'll always be there until we come your way again. And remember, our wonderful discussants and professionals in their various fields have been Barrister Chukwuemeka Wong, also a security consultant.
Thank you, sir, and bye, viewers.
And also Dr. Stanley Nduago, a public affairs analyst and a media personality.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator, and our viewers, thank you for being there with us.
And this is your favorite Chineduma Dele signing off for now. Remember, our programs continue in Living TV. Thank you.